They've gone up faster than they should have. They've gone up 500%. They should have started cutting interest rates third quarter of last year. They didn't. They increased them more. There may be the probability we're getting from our people. Now understand, these aren't guarantees. These are opinions. There's probably
They're very good opinions, though. They're very fact-based opinions.
Yeah. 25% or less that they'll raise interest rates one more time. For that to happen, the CPI data that's going to come in June has to be really hot. It's not going to be really hot. So we think most likely that it is done.
Yeah.
The bond market has priced in. And when I say priced in, if you look at interest rates of the Treasury, 10-year Treasury versus the 2-year Treasury versus the Treasury bills, the bond market is telling you that the market has priced in cuts in the third quarter of this year, meaning they're going to start lowering interest rates. I think this Federal Reserve, and they should, by the way.
Yeah, sure.
Reserve track record is everything is for show. And we don't believe they will because they're trying to make a point. One, they'd be admitting that they were wrong. And that doesn't seem to be their track record. Secondly, they don't have many monetary theory people on the Federal Reserve. They tend to be academicians or finance people or politicians. And so we don't think that they will. They'll hold them probably at this level through the remainder of this year, at least in the third quarter. And then going into 2024, we'll start seeing gradual cuts in interest rates. Now, Stan, let me make a point. The Federal Reserve only can affect short-term rates, the Fed funds rates. The market does the rest, believe it or not. The Federal Reserve actually could cut interest rates without cutting interest rates. Please, and to the public,
as they say in the South, explain, please.
This is really important. This is really a takeaway for your audience. If the Federal Reserve affects short-term rates, the reaction to those rates is what sets mortgage rates, is what sets the 10-year, the reaction of the market. If the Federal Reserve, namely Powell, comes out in his next meeting and says, we've looked at the numbers, inflation is cooling, now we're looking effects on the economy. If the numbers said so, we're going to stabilize and maybe looking at lowering rates to resist, to lower the chances of a hard recession, the market would take care of the rest. They wouldn't have to cut Fed funds rates for the interest rates to start coming down.
And this is what frustrates me. By the way, on a side note, Chairman Powell is known as Boog Powell to me. Boog Powell was a big first baseman, overweight, that played for the Orioles, but I digress. Baseball.
And owned an oyster bar in the Keys.
Yeah, so Boog Powell. Why? I understand. I'm hoping that they know exactly what you just said there. And if they do know, and I'm assuming they do, and why aren't they doing it, Owen?
Because he's afraid. I forget the gentleman's name. If I weren't on recording, I know it. But the Federal Reserve chairman through the 70s resisted.
Is it Volcker?
No, it was pre-Volcker. It was
pre-Volcker.
Okay. Volcker. And he was there for 8 years, and he resisted. He resisted raising rates. And as a result, was the architect, Arthur Burns.
Okay.
Burns was the architect of the great inflation of the late 70s, early 80s, where notoriously or infamously inflation went to 12%, interest rates went to 19% on CDs. And so he caused it. And Powell does not want his legacy to be that of Arthur Burns. So they've already said they don't care about market reactions. They've already said most likely we're going to have a recession. He said that on the podium in front of the world. And my belief is he does not want to go down his history as the one who let entrenched runaway inflation take hold. He'd rather keep rates high at these levels, cause a recession. He's already said he's looking for and wants 5% unemployment.
Hey, Stan the Annuity Man here. Did you like that little taste of my podcast, Fun with Annuities? Hey, if you want to see the full version, click the link and watch the whole darn thing. Remember, Fun with Annuities. Live in the reality, not the dream.